Before we get into today's video, I have a pretty huge announcement, guys. Enkiri Elite Supps is on the way, people. I found a very powerful new substance with loads and loads of research to support its efficacy spanning the last several decades. And this is true. This stuff literally improves hand-eye coordination like crazy, which is amazing for athletes. It lets you do larger volumes of work before fatigue sets in. It boosts aerobic and anaerobic capacity, which is freaking awesome. It even enhances power output, and it will whiten your fucking teeth. I'm not making this up, guys. It also acts as a gentle laxative at the end of the day to help keep your digestive system running smoothly. So to say this stuff does it all is a freaking understatement, man. I want to get it to market ASAP, but supplies are going to be limited, so I'm taking pre-orders today, right now. If you want in, let me know right now, because this stuff is gonna fly off the shelves, guys. I promise you. Bicarb Extreme, 2-week supply, just $49.99 on Enkiri Elite Supps, baby. Enkiri here, and today I'm going to show you guys one of the most underrated leg exercises probably in existence that, frankly, most of you have probably never even heard of, and you've definitely never seen anyone else do it in person, at least. And that exercise is dun dun dun, the Hatfield Squat. A Hatfield Squat is simple. You put a safety squat bar on your back, which allows you to go hands-free while easily keeping the weight balanced on your back. Now, most decent gyms have acquired a safety squat bar at this point, so accessibility shouldn't be too much of an issue. After you've got the SSB on your back, you grab hold of a bar or other sturdy object created as a handrail, right? Situated out in front of you, right about at belly button height, and then from there, you perform a normal squat. And that sounds pretty simple, right? It almost sounds like it doesn't even really change anything. But if you write it off without trying, then I can promise you that you are missing out, man, because this subtle little change in the technique allows for some pretty big and pretty cool benefits to occur. So today I'm gonna give you guys my top 3 reasons why you need to add Hatfield squats into your training routine. So let's jump right to it. And just real quick, guys, if you're in the market for a top-notch meal prep company, then be sure to check out FlexPro meals and use code Enkiri Elite for 20% off your order. The link is in the description. The food's legit. It usually arrives in just a couple days. They have a bunch of different high-protein meal options, and it's a really easy and convenient way to help keep your diet and your macros on track. And now, back to your regularly scheduled program. Reason number 1 is big range of motion for big hypertrophy in the legs. The Hatfield squat allows you to achieve a very large range of motion through the hips and through the knees, and to get into a comfortable ATG squat position. Even in people who may not otherwise be able to do so. The reason for this is that bar, that handrail out in front of you, right? By grasping that handrail, you're able to shift your balance back further behind you than you're able to do during a normal squatting pattern. This subtle little change allows you to make tweaks to your stance, for example, that will allow you to more easily and more comfortably achieve a very large range of motion. In my case, for example, since balance is no longer a concern, I'm able to use a stance that's about hip width, right? Which is quite a bit narrower than my typical squatting stance, which is about shoulder width or maybe even slightly wider. With this narrower stance, I'm able to easily and comfortably sink every single rep, right up until my butt is basically just a few inches off the floor. True ATG position. And this is something that even when I was at my absolute most mobile in terms of my squatting ability, I was not able to replicate that positioning simply because my anthropometry does not really allow for it, at least not very comfortably. However, with the Hatfield squat, this issue is rectified, and I'm able to easily achieve an effortless ATG position on every single rep. If you struggle with getting the range of motion that you want on your squats, then you should consider trying the Hatfield squat as well. You may just find that this subtle little tweak allows you to find range of motion that you didn't even really know existed, and it's pretty well established at this point. that the more range of motion that we can take our joints through, the greater the hypertrophic impact on the muscles will be. As well, by moving the hips and knees through their full available range of motion, you'll be promoting mobility in the joints themselves also. Reason number 2, you get the benefits of both machines and free weights all in one single package. The Hatfield Squat, it feels like a combination of a hack squat machine and a free weight belt squat, in my opinion. The weight is situated in basically the same way as it would be during a hack squat on a hack squat machine. The movement itself is not quite as free form as a regular free weight squat, but then conversely, it's not nearly as rigid as any machine-based movement either. So basically what ends up happening is you kind of get the best of both worlds, right? You're given the extra stability that machine work affords, but at the same time, you are given the freedom of movement that free weights give you. Now this allows you to push things just a little bit harder, right? Kind of like how leg machines allow you to do anyway, but it allows you to do that within the framework and the context of a free weight movement, which is a unique aspect that honestly doesn't really exist elsewhere. I would say that a free weight belt squat using hand support similar to this setup is probably the next closest thing to this feeling, that the way you can hit the legs with it. And I do absolutely love belt squats. However, the Hatfield squat has some benefits that you do not get from the belt squat. For example, the stance width thing I was talking about earlier. With free weight belt squats, you do have multiple options in terms of how you want to set things up, but those options ultimately either force you into a particular stance width, or for me, one that's actually way wider than I want to be using, or they force you into a more rigid pattern of movement, depending on how you set things up. I've talked about the different ways to set belt squats up in a different video, in a short video. And while the Hatfield squat doesn't give you the benefit of zero axial loading that you do get from belt squats, it does remove much of the back as a potential limiting factor in the equation. And as such, it allows you to really hone in on the legs to a greater degree. This can be good for people who have a tendency to have their hips shoot up, for people who have a tendency to not feel squats in their legs, right? And it doesn't force a certain stance width, like I said, or it doesn't force a rigid pattern of movement either. So basically, it just feels like a super comfortable machine exercise that doesn't lock you into a rigid pattern at all. Honestly, I think I like it better than belt squats overall. It gives you the benefits of free weights and leg machines all in one, and honestly, it may just be the secret weapon that you need to take your leg strength and size to the next level. In fact, Dr. Fred Hatfield, aka Dr. Squat, the man who invented the exercise, credits it with pushing his squat up to his legendary 1,014-pound world record back in the 80s. And finally, reason number 3, the Hatfield squat allows you to overload and break through squat sticking points. Now here's where that handrail out in front of you really starts to shine. So we've already covered how you can use that handrail in order to subtly alter your squat pattern on the way down, right? Now on the way up, you can call on the assistance of your arms to ensure that your torso positioning remains absolutely perfect throughout the sticking point of the lift. As well, if you're cautious and you don't allow your ego to get in the way here, you can actually use a little bit of arm assistance, actually pulling yourself a little bit, to break your way through said sticking point. So now, with that, you have a tool that basically allows you to overload the weak point of the squat pattern in terms of the volume that you can do, right? So you could take a heavy weight, something that would ordinarily cause your form to break down after maybe 5 or so reps, right? And now you can push out 10, 15, maybe even 20 beautiful, clean reps with that exact same weight, while also ensuring perfect positioning the entire time. So now you're getting in more work than usual at these challenging weights, and you are doing it with a zero form breakdown. In the long run, that's going to have a pretty profound impact on both your leg size as well as your leg strength and your ability to nail clean, heavy squats with perfect form. The main thing to really watch out for here, as I alluded to a minute ago, is ego. You absolutely cannot use the handrail to pull yourself up, to give yourself very large amounts of assistance, to pull up a large amount of the weight, right? That's not the point here. That's not what it is for. And if you do that, you're really just feeding your ego for no reason. You're also defeating the purpose of the movement, and as well, you are possibly even making it dangerous. So you really want to avoid doing that. Any weight that you use on this exercise should be a weight that you can already handle without the hand support. And with that, you should use the hand support as a judicious tool to help you maintain perfect positioning during your reps and really just push your training intensity up to the next level. You use it that way, you use it responsibly rather than using it as a tool that lets you load up irresponsible weights and feed your ego a meal that it doesn't need anyway. So please keep that in mind if you do decide to incorporate this exercise. But if you can follow these guidelines, then you'll be well on your way to reaping all the rewards that this fantastic exercise has to offer. If you guys have any questions about the movement itself or about how to best add it into your training program or anything like that, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And that pretty much wraps it up, guys. If you found the video helpful or informative, please hit the like button before you go. The engagement's really helpful for my channel. Also, subscribe to my channel and consider signing up for my Patreon as well for more informative content just like this. Check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs. If you want to support the production of more free content like this directly, one of the best ways to do that is to pick up one of my training templates. I've sold probably a few thousand of those now over the last couple years since I released them, and the gains that people have reported to me, man, it's been pretty fucking awesome. They're more than just generic training programs. They're basically reusable teaching manuals that give you all the gains while teaching you how to program for yourself along the way. You don't just give a man a fish, you teach him how to fish. So be sure to grab one of those if you guys want to join the hype. Anyway, it's all I got for today. Keep training hard, and I will catch you guys next time.